everybody. Welcome back to Early Morning PJ Podcast. This is week 10, I think, Jacob?
Yeah, week 10.
Unfortunately, Jason is not able to be with us this week. He had some family things to take care of. So it's just Jacob and I this week, no guests or anything.
Throwback to week 1.
So, yeah, throwback to week 1. We're running it how the first week was ran with the computer and the mic all in this little small table, this little pub table here.
Yeah.
Instead of having our guests know about the bigger table.
Yeah.
But nobody else knows about that. So this obviously we're kind of going to stick to the same schedule as we have been. I think last week we started Jacob's mock draft, his updated mock draft.
Got through 20 picks, I think.
Got through 20 picks last week, so we're going to finish the first round of that. Then we're going to get into some NBA talk, and I think there were some the initial MVP votes were released this week.
Oh, really?
And I believe like 90 or 91 of them of the 101 votes were in favor of Nikola Jokic. So, obviously, as a Sixers fan, I have a lot to say about that. But we'll get into that a little later, and then we'll get into some Major League Baseball talk as well. The Phillies obviously had a rough week. They're coming off a rough week. So, Jacob's Marlins have won a few in a row.
Yeah, we're 7-7. Last time we talked, we were 2-6. So, we'll be World Series champions soon enough. Believe it.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to get into some of Jacob's first round mock draft. We're going to finish that up. So, Jacob, I'm going to pull it up on my computer here, and then we're just going to roll from there. So, before I pull this up, Jacob, obviously there's been some news this past week about possibly the Eagles moving back into the top 10. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't really think that they should do that. I think they're actually sitting pretty decently at 12, whether they'll be in a position to get kind of the third receiver and even if all three receivers go before they're even available to take them, I think the Eagles could use some corner help, and there's some pretty decent corners. You can get some value there at 12.
I mean, I agree. And I mean,
some good linebackers too. Two. I'd take probably 2 of them with the 12th pick. Like, I would not be Micah Parsons and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I think would be good for the 12th pick. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely some talent in that with that pick that they could seek. But then again, you're talking about possibly moving back into the top 10, possibly getting Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. Yeah. And there's even been talks of, we've talked about these last couple of weeks, about the Eagles possibly getting a quarterback with that pick, which obviously I don't think I would be any kind of happy with. But I'm interested to see. I mean, the draft is less than 2 weeks away. So I'm interested to see how everything plays out, really. Just kind of how, with everything that's like happened with like free agency and things like that. I'm interested to see how teams like the Patriots, interested to see how teams like Miami. I'm interested to see how the Eagles draft. Obviously, they're my favorite team, but I think after all of the rumors that they've been surrounded by over these last couple of weeks leading into the draft, I think a lot of people have their eye on the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't blame them. So
I think if the Eagles move around on the draft board, I think it's going to be more of like a draft night thing to, seeing how the board's going.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how everything plays out. And as an Eagles fan, it's kind of difficult for me to say, yes, I want to move back into the the top 10 because
you just traded out of the top 10.
Yeah, you just traded out of the top 10. And there's really no reason to kind of get back in there, especially with the value of somebody like Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, with the 12th pick, that'd be a very good pick. Yeah, that's kind of who we're kind of looking at. So I actually pulled up it up here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so Jacob, you can kind of read it. I can't. So
All right.
Okay, so with the 20th pick, I think we went over the Chicago Bears.
Tevin Jenkins. Yeah, I don't remember if we did the 20th pick or not, but I mean, he's a really good player. He's really fun to watch. I know offensive line's kind of like a boring position, but like if you watch Tevin Jenkins, like he makes it fun. Like he's a mean dude, and he really excels in run blocking. And with the Bears' new offense, Andy Dalton under quarterback, and they're kind of a run-first offense now. So I think a tackle's what's going to be needed for them.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Chicago, like, they lost Trubisky, obviously, but a lot of people might not think that was a huge loss. I'm interested to see how the Bears do this year without Trubisky. We talked about how Andy Dalton was their QB1. And
yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm not a big Andy Dalton fan necessarily, but we'll see.
All right, hold on.
And then with the 21st pick, I have the Colts taking Sam Cosmi, who's a tackle out of Texas. And their left tackle, Anthony Costanzo, from last year, just retired, like in the offseason. He wasn't even that old. He was like 32 years old. And I mean, really, I don't even know if they have a left tackle on their roster. So this shores up that need.
Yeah, and the next pick you have the Tennessee Titans, Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida.
You know I like Kadarius Toney.
I do, and we've had a couple debates about how good of a playmaker he was, and comparing him to somebody like Devontae Smith last year with his playmaking ability and his after the catch ability.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know I'm not the only one that will agree with this, but to me, Devontae Smith was probably the best after the catch receiver last year.
To me, it's Toney.
And Tony's not far behind him. I mean, I watched Toney play in maybe 2 or 3 games this season, and it was kind of evident that he was really their playmaker on offense besides Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
So it was Florida had a really good offense, and they made
very good offense.
They made Kyle Trask look really, really good with Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts. So, but I mean, don't get me wrong, Kyle Trask he's good, and he was a Heisman candidate for a reason. So
yeah, and with Toney, their receiving core now without Corey Davis, who just left in free agency, besides AJ Brown, is not so hot, and really they need to get some playmakers on the offense besides Brown and Derrick Henry for Ryan Tannehill, and I think Toney fits their system well.
I do too. And yeah, they lost Corey Davis obviously this offseason. So they're probably targeting kind of like a speed guy, if you will. Not that Corey Davis was necessarily the fastest guy, fastest receiver in the league, but pairing him alongside AJ Brown, who can do it all, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 guys with pretty unique skill sets. Toney, how electric he is after the catch, and then AJ Brown really just being
AJ Brown can
he's
do
a stud. Yeah, he's just a great overall receiver.
He is a 50-50 ball receiver mixed in with a deep threat because of his speed.
Yeah. And
his physicality, his size. I mean, he plays a little bit like DK Metcalf. And
teammates in college.
Yeah, teammates in college. They literally
You've seen that picture of them in
they
the
literally look the exact same.
Yeah.
Like DK's obviously a little
bigger.
Built. Yeah. But AJ Brown is kind of the same. He kind of brings that same skill set with him. So
yeah.
Anyways, moving on, you got the Jets taking Caleb Farley, corner from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Farley. I mean, he was probably my number 1 corner leading up till the news that he just got back surgery, and that's never a good thing for any player, especially a defensive back. And I mean, the Jets could realistically take almost any position and it would be an improvement. And I think Farley is really good value at 23 with him falling down the board because of an injury. Assuming that works out, I think he could be a stud for them.
Yeah, and I have actually heard a couple rumors this week about possibly the Eagles. That would be a reach for me. But the Eagles possibly drafting him at 12.
I don't think it's a reach in terms of talent, but with the back injury, I think that's a bit
I mean,
risky
the Eagles
12.
need a corner. I think Darius Slay needs help. Avonte Maddox was hurt last year, and I believe he might even be a free agent this year. But he has struggled in the past. And they lost some secondary help with Jalen Mills, who played safety last year.
Going to the Patriots,
obviously. McLeod, who might not even be ready for the start of the season, with coming back from a torn ACL. They went out and got Anthony Harris from Minnesota Vikings in free agency. And they also, if you guys haven't heard the news yet, they just acquired Wilson. Eric Wilson from Minnesota, a linebacker. They just acquired him as well, so I'm actually pretty happy with that, considering where our linebacker play was last year. Nate Gary was not cutting it, obviously. Singleton, he played well, and I expect him to be a starter this year. We lost Duke Riley, so the other spot is kind of going to be up for grabs, and I think. Not really, now that we have Eric Wilson. I mean, it's probably going to be Singleton and Wilson in the middle. So we'll see. But I'm happy with the acquisitions we've made so far. However, I'm not necessarily intrigued by the idea of possibly moving back into the top 10 to go draft a quarterback, which is really what I've been hearing a lot about the last couple of weeks. So, I don't know. Moving on, we'll talk about the Eagles a little later, but 24th pick, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Dylan Raduns.
I don't know.
Raduns?
Yeah, I'm not.
Tackle from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
This is an interesting pick.
Trey Lance is left tackle. I mean, he's a big dude. I think he's 6'7", and he's physical. And we know how much the Steelers need offensive line. And I think it's Raduns. I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation,
Probably.
But I'm pretty high on him compared to the other tackles, and I think he'd be a really good fit with the Steelers, replacing Villanueva at left tackle.
I agree, and I mean they lost Villanueva like you mentioned, and they also lost Pouncey to retirement. So I don't know really where to kind of go with this pick. I feel like. We've had some Steelers fans come on the podcast and mention the possibility of drafting Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama, who is probably the best running back in the draft class.
Yeah, I agree.
So I see, especially with the loss of James Conner, but then again, you have a younger guy in Benny Snell, who showed some success last year, was very successful in college for the University of Kentucky.
I just think drafting a running back when you have other bigger pressing needs is just kind of overkill.
Yeah, I agree. And you don't really hear much about drafting a running back in the first round.
Yeah, there was one taken last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and
the last real running back that Edwards-Helaire had a really good season.
Compared to other rookies?
I would say the best running back drafted in the first round in the last couple of years was Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon's different. All I'm going to say is, yes, Saquon is very talented, but in no way was he worth the second overall pick. I will be on record saying that. Second overall pick?
Oh, I mean, at the time, yes, he was. I mean,
Giants
fans were drooling over him when they saw him on the. Because who was first in that class?
Baker.
He was the first overall pick.
I think that was that draft.
Wow. And so, yeah, I mean.
Which guy would you rather have?
I mean, it depends on scheme. Because the Browns,
I'd rather have Baker.
Well, you say that, but if Baker Mayfield dropped back more, if Baker Mayfield
he does drop back. It is a run first offense, but
and they definitely don't drop back more than the Giants. Like if you put Baker Mayfield in Daniel Jones' shoes,
I think he would have done fine.
He would be average, just like he is now. I don't think he's above average. I
do. He's pushing. He is probably in that 15 to 11 range for me of quarterbacks.
All right. So moving on with the 25th pick, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Trevon Moehrig, safety from TCU.
Yeah. I mean, he's my number one safety off the board, and the Jaguars are kind of very desperate at safety. They don't have a lot at all.
They're very desperate in the secondary.
Yeah, especially at safety. And this isn't like any sort of like crazy safety class, but I think good value at the end of the first round with Merrick.
All right. And I mean, I don't know much about Moehrig, but I have heard about his safety play and his ability to kind of read the whole field, if you will.
Yeah.
So like I said, Jacksonville needs some secondary help, so I agree with this pick. So moving on, you have the Cleveland Browns at 26th pick. Cleveland Browns selecting Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, linebacker from Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's really talented and really fast. He's almost like a safety. Like he's like a safety linebacker hybrid. I think he's like all of 220 pounds. He's not like a Micah Parsons, like 260 pounder, but he is very good in coverage, good at getting. So he's a sideline to sideline linebacker, and that's really what the NFL is turning towards, with guys that can run all over the field and be impact players, not just in the run game, in the pass game too.
Well, I don't know if we've mentioned this. Obviously, with it happening this week, I know we haven't for a fact, but Cleveland just acquired Jadeveon Clowney this past week. So I definitely they have a good defense, and they showed that last year. And I mean they need some linebacking.
They didn't show it against the Ravens.
They definitely need some linebacker help. So moving on with the 27th pick, you have the Baltimore Ravens selecting Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from Miami.
Yeah, he's now my number 2 edge rusher behind Kwity Paye of Michigan. And the thing with Phillips is like injury concerns and kind of like, I don't want to say like commitment issues, but he retired from football in 2018 because of injuries. And that's really kind of I don't want to say it's like had a bad mark on him, but like teams have like questioned how long he's going to last. Talent wise, he's top 10 in this class. If he can put it all together, he can really be something special. But
yeah. All right, so I agree with that pick. I think they lost to Judon, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely feel like they need to go out and get kind of that edge rusher / outside linebacker type of player. With the 28th pick, you have the New Orleans Saints selecting Terrace Marshall Jr., receiver from LSU.
Yeah, second LSU receiver in the first round. Says a lot about that program and their receivers.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where the Saints really want to go with this pick.
I think they need to. I mean, who's their number 2 receivers? Like Traquan Smith?
Yeah, and he's not bad.
For number 2, I don't know about that. I mean, they really have.
And they lost Emmanuel Sanders.
They lost Sanders. They lost Jared Cook. There's not a lot of weapons on that team besides Kamara out of the backfield and
Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Juwan Johnson. Are they going to give him a chance? We'll see.
I just think. Besides teams keyed on Michael Thomas last year. I mean,
Michael Thomas is. I mean,
when realistically he's the only good receiver on the field, he's going to see a lot less volume.
He just didn't produce last year, and I don't know if that was because he was coming off an injury. I think that was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Coming off of punching Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the face at practice too.
I don't know if that, yeah. I don't. There was just something. Michael Thomas did not look right last year, and like I said, I don't know if it was because of his. First of all, let's talk about his own injury, and then second of all, let's go into the fact that Drew Brees got hurt and was out for a while.
Yeah. And
Michael Thomas's quarterback at the time was Taysom Hill, who, I mean, it's a backup quarterback. Taysom Hill is probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league,
but still backup.
Yeah, exactly. But still he's a backup. And Michael Thomas's quarterback, when he was having all that success, was Drew Brees.
When he broke the single season record for receptions. Let's not forget that. Don't disrespect Michael Thomas.
Did Drew Brees? He's coming back, or is he?
No,
he retired. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where. And I mean, what's the possibility of them possibly taking Mac Jones or somebody like that?
Well, in this, Mac Jones isn't here at this point, but I think if Mac Jones is there at 28, that's not a bad pick.
I mean, I don't know where they go with this pick because, first of all, I don't know if you trust Jameis Winston yet. I don't know if you trust Taysom Hill, especially they were undefeated. They played really well around Taysom Hill.
Well, historically, the Saints have played well with quarterbacks that aren't named Drew Brees, like Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh yeah,
undefeated.
But at the same time, like Taysom Hill is not a 16 or for this instance now it's a 17 game season. He's not a 17 game season starter, and they're probably going to end up getting into the playoffs because they're just that kind of team. They have the talent on the defensive side of the ball, and their offense has the ability to score points by turning around and handing the ball to number 41.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, Taysom Hill, I don't know if he's your guy that you want to go with.
I mean,
and I don't even know if a rookie, if they were to draft a guy this year, I don't know if a rookie would be.
Rumor is that they're looking at Trask as a guy they like.
And Trask, that's with the 28th pick, you're kind of getting in the Trask/Jones kind of
talent-wise
territory.
Teams are always going to reach on quarterbacks because they're quarterbacks, taking them above their talent value. But that's just how it is.
So moving on now, it was the 29th pick. You have the Green Bay Packers selecting Elijah Moore, receiver from Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, he was second in the nation in receiving yards behind your boy Devonta Smith. He's a solid overall receiver, works mostly out of the slot, and I think he'd pair really well next to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I agree. And
for years, they put off receiver and getting help for Aaron Rodgers. Highest they've taken a receiver is the second round, I think.
All right, and then so moving on, you have the Buffalo Bills with the 30th pick selecting Gregory Rousseau, edge from Miami.
Yeah, he kind of took a hit down my board, mostly because of his pro day. Rousseau in college had really one great year, was only behind Chase Young in the nation in sacks, and he opted out last year, so we really didn't get to see him. The issue with him is mostly limited athleticism and 1 year of really production, but he has like the physical body for it. He's tall, he's long. I think he had the longest arms, biggest hands of any defensive end in this class. So if he can get help with a good D-line coach and, work up his athleticism a little, he can be really good.
All right. And moving on with the 31st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Jason Oweh, edge from Penn State.
Yeah. A lot of Penn State fans in our area know Oweh pretty well. Ran a 4.4 at his pro day?
Really fast.
Yeah. Really athletic guy. Chiefs desperately need pass rush help. It's really just Chris Jones rushing the passer every play. The other guys are just complete non-factors. And you saw it in the Super Bowl. The biggest media story was the pressure on Mahomes from the Bucs. But really what I saw was the lack of pressure on Brady from the Chiefs. And that's just as big of an issue as not protecting Mahomes. And
then with the 32nd pick, you have the Tampa Bay Bucs selecting Carlos Basham Jr., edge from Wake Forest.
Yeah, Basham's a big defensive end, 285 pounds, I think. We watch the ACC the most because you're a Pitt guy, I'm a Miami guy. And Basham kind of wreaked havoc on the ACC this year. He played really well. And he can play inside or outside for the Bucs on that D-line. Jason Pierre-Paul's getting up there in age. They have other guys on 1-year deals of their contract. So I think they need to get the most value out of that and take a D lineman.
I agree. And the Bucs, they could get better with any. I don't know. They're just
I will say this. Don't make the mistake of what the Chiefs did last year when they took a luxury pick, a running back in the first round. And now the Chiefs have actual holes on their roster that they're not just going to fix with one draft. So I I don't want to say advice, but like what I would do if I was the Bucks is think ahead to the future and be kind of proactive, patching up those holes.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, so I mean, just to kind of wrap up with the Eagles talk. I mean, the Eagles are they're in a tough spot right now. They traded back to possibly end up with Jalen Waddle, and I mean, if you ask me, the Miami Dolphins won that trade. And the Eagles, I mean, they need to trust Jalen Hurts. And I've said that before, and I'll say it many times. The fact that they don't trust Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, if you look at the kind of things that the fan base wants, they want Hurts to be the quarterback. And not that the front office should listen to the fan base. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I'm simply saying, give the kid a chance. He played decently, in my opinion, above average, especially in the first couple games that he played. And then he kind of declined in the Dallas game, and he got benched. Stupidity amongst Doug Peterson. On behalf of his part, when they benched him in halftime of the Washington game, really to throw the game for the better draft pick in which they traded away. So I don't understand why they're not even giving him a chance. He played well in the last couple games of the season when he started. He stole your quarterback. He stole QB1 Carson Wentz's job because Carson Wentz led the league in turnovers. And, I mean, Hurts played well. If Hurts wasn't playing well in the Saints game, they would have benched him and gone back to Hurts. And, I mean, or going back to Wentz, sorry. It's just like they need to go surround him with weapons. And that's something they didn't do with Carson Wentz. And I understand that. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Carson Wentz's success, especially because of the fact that he really led us to the Super Bowl in 2017. A lot of people say Nick Foles won the Super Bowl for us. Yes, he won the games in the playoffs for us, but he didn't win. What were they, like 13 and I don't even know, 10-3? They were 10. They played 13 games. They were 10-3 when Wentz got hurt. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect them to do with Hurts. I don't know what to expect in the draft. They're so unpredictable when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially around this time with the draft, free agency. They really don't have much cap to go out and target anybody for any position. But then again, they went out and got Eric Wilson and Anthony Harris, who in my opinion were steals. So we'll see. We'll see how they play next year. In my opinion, they're probably in a rebuild season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But at the same time, they have guys like Jason Kelce and Jason Peters, who, I mean, unfortunately for Eagles fans, is coming back for yet another season. And, I mean, you got guys like Lane Johnson.
Just kind of in an awkward phase between rebuilding and
win now mode. Like
I don't think you're win now mode. I'll say that much.
I don't think that either. But you got guys, like I'm saying, you got guys that are aging, like Jason Kelce and Jason Peters, who
Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox.
And those guys do believe they're in win now mode. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect next season. I don't know what to expect with Sirianni. I kind of expect a little more of a rushing attack, a little more of a run-first kind of team. And I'm hoping, I would not be surprised if they end up with an offensive lineman in the first, second round range.
Dolphins draft strategy, take Jamar Chase. It's pretty much. Unless Penei Sewell's there, then take it.
Any player on the offensive side of the ball
would
be a help to Jalen Hurts. And that's all I want. That's all I'm asking for.
Same for the Dolphins.
That is all I'm asking for. If Penei Sewell is there at number 12, take him.
Slater might be there.
Just take him. I don't think anybody on the defensive side of the ball is going to help us. So just go get an offensive player, please. If you haven't heard about Anchor yet, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free and there's no charge. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more music apps.
You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'll ever need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started on your podcast today.
All right, so we wrapped up some draft talk. We wrapped up Jacob's first round of the mock draft.
Wrapped up the Eagles' entire situation.
Yeah, wrapped up the Eagles. I'm sorry that I like to talk about the Eagles, but there is so much to talk about with that team. A lot of things go wrong every year around this time.
Yeah, at least you're not a fan of a boring team like the Vikings or something.
I mean, the Vikings are pretty much giving away their whole farm on defense. So
yeah,
I don't know. So we wrapped up like I said, his mock draft and finished with some Eagles talk. So we're gonna get into some NBA talk now, and not much. There's been some injuries.
Unfortunately,
but, yeah. So I first want to talk about. I don't know if we discussed Jamal Murray tearing his ACL last week. But that's probably the biggest thing that's happened over this last week.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that Donovan Mitchell or not that Jamal Murray is going to hear this, but I mean, prayers up to him. I mean,
all-star, if not all-star level player.
He's probably one of my personal favorite players in the league. And he showed the amount of heart.
Pretty good on accidental Instagram lives, too.
The amount of heart.
If you get that joke.
Yeah. The amount of heart and the amount of grit that he played with last year in the bubble was something that...
dropping 50 bombs against the Jazz.
Yeah. And that's something that, I mean, I respect him for, and I know the Nuggets are going to miss him really dearly. I mean, you're talking about Nikola Jokic, who is in the MVP talk right now.
Who's the MVP frontrunner.
Yeah, right? Well, currently. We'll get into that a little later. But he's the MVP frontrunner, just like Jacob said.
Who's I think 0.9 assists away from averaging a triple-double as a center.
Well, I don't understand how – I'll say this once. Nikola Jokic, I've had a lot of people say this to me, is probably a better passer than Joel Embiid is.
I think in my opinion.
Then again, you got to think about the kind of guys that like –
They both have good supporting cast.
Yeah. And, okay, first of all, who is the best passer on the Sixers?
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, exactly. And who scores all the points for the Sixers?
Mostly Embiid.
Yeah. And how do you think Embiid is getting
Jokic is the main scorer on
He's
Denver
the main
too.
facilitator.
He's the main scorer, too.
He's the main scorer. He's the main passer.
He
doesn't really have many guys. There's not – Jamal Murray's great. He's a great player. But is he like a facilitator? No. When you think of facilitating on the Nuggets, you think of Nikola Jokic. And I mean, I don't know how Nikola Jokic is a front runner by that many votes. I think that is literally a crime. That he is
it can be like close.
He acquired 90 of the 101 votes of the initial MVP.
That could be misleading because
that is okay. I understand that Embiid missed 2 weeks, right? But he came back and he is averaging 35 points since he came back. Who comes back after that much time off, 3 weeks off, and starts just instantly averaging 35 points? And oh, by the way, they are undefeated since he came back. There's just nobody else doing that. And I mean, we're watching the game now. Brooklyn Nets are playing the Miami Heat, and if the Heat can win this game, that would put the Sixers.
Yeah, that's a pretty big if there.
Yeah,
we don't like.
But okay, we're gonna talk about this. I mean, we'll talk about it now.
3 minutes.
But I cannot. You want to know?
You don't like the Nets.
I hate the Nets, and I respect Harden. I respect Irving. I respect KD. But what is the biggest knock on all three of those guys that I have been harping on? Exactly. They do not play. And what just happened here in this game? Kevin Durant plays 4 minutes of the game and somehow goes down with a
thigh
thigh contusion after 4 minutes.
Whatever that
is. And this is his first game back. Like, I just don't understand where, like, Nets fans and some of NBA fans, they will come up to me and tell me, well, that's not going to happen in the playoffs.
It's not.
How do you know that that's not going to happen in the playoffs? When's the last time Kevin Durant has played more than 10 games in a row? I would probably date that back to, 7 years ago when he was with the Warriors.
7.
He was with the Warriors and they won the finals.
He signed in 2015. 7 years is a bit ahead of ourselves.
Okay, the year he tore his Achilles, which was 4 years ago?
Yeah.
That was probably the last season that he played in which he played more than 10 games.
That would have been
in
2018.
a row. Okay. How many games has he played in the season? Is it even double digits yet? Like, he's just not healthy. And it's sad. Like, it's sad to think that I don't know who the healthiest guy on the team would be for them right now. But
Harden.
It's
Harden.
Is it Harden or is it one of those guys
I'm talking
of
about
the big three?
Yeah, it's Harden.
Yeah, it's Harden. And Harden is the guy that's like injury prone. And he's the most healthy guy that's missed the least amount of time. And not that Irving missed time for injury. He took some time off.
You do know why Irving's missing time, right?
No.
Because of Ramadan, like the fasting holiday for like Muslims. Like,
yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, that's why. Because you can't like eat or drink for 12 hours. That's like what the holiday is about. So he's been like missing time because of that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. First of all, I respect that, but I mean, I'm talking about before that, like a couple weeks ago when he was missing time for like personal reasons or even injuries. I mean, there's just Irving will be healthy for the playoffs. He typically is, especially for like prime time, clutch situation, game on the line, elimination mode. In the playoffs, he's there. He will be there. But I don't believe in KD. I don't know if I believe in Harden. Harden's missed some time now. He's been out for a couple games, been out for a couple weeks. Is he going to be healthy for the playoffs? That is a huge question mark. And
I just think it's unfair to predict injury in the playoffs.
I'm not predicting injuries at all. I'm simply saying if you were to project how they would do in the playoffs without one of those guys, what would you expect?
Not to their full potential, but still, when you have
will probably end up making it to the semifinals, finals.
When you have 2 out of 3 of Kyrie, KD, and Harden, you're still gonna go pretty far.
I will stand by my word here. I still expect the last 2 standing to be this in the Eastern Conference to be the Sixers and the Nets.
As of now, it looks like that, but the playoffs is a whole different beast.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at last year. That's all I'll say.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, come on, like these teams have been. There's some teams in the NBA that have just been so inconsistent. And
one of them plays in South Beach.
Yeah, you're talking about the Heat. The Knicks have been inconsistent. The Celtics have been terrible this year. Terribly
8-2 in their last 10.
Oh, they got the ball. Here we go. Hold for the last shot.
That is a foul.
Are they in the bonus? How's it not a foul?
It's fine. We got a last shot.
Excuse us. It's tied at 107 with 10 left.
10 seconds left. I'll do a little play-by-play. Bam Adebayo holds the ball at the 3-point line. He wants one.
Why is he at the?
He wants one-on-one. Puts the ball up and. Hey! Bam Adebayo hits the game-winning buzzer beater, baby.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Don't tell me he's not an all-star, by the way. But yeah, that was a nice shot. That'll be all over Bleacher Report. So you guys will see that.
But there's the 2 old heads that just are always hurt.
Talking about Harden and KD. Sorry, we're a bit energetic after that game.
Yeah, but that just puts the Sixers up 2 games, or either a game and a half or 2 games.
Hopefully, it puts the Heat out of the play-in games territory.
Yeah, now the Heat are in the play-in games. That's a scary place to be, man.
Yeah.
I would not want to mess with somebody that gets hot around that kind of.
I mean, as of now, we're playing the Bulls there. I'm not really afraid of the Bulls, but I guess anything can happen.
The Bulls aren't a bad team.
No. Zach Levine's been playing really well. Yeah. And now with Vucevic on that team.
They acquired Daniel Tice. Not that that's like a huge deal.
I think Tice is really underrated. I think he's
very good defensive player.
Just good overall.
He was able to hold his ground against
he's kind of similar to like what Dwight Howard is for the Sixers. Like he does everything you'd want in a backup center. Like he's just a solid player in the middle.
Well, he started for the Celtics.
Yeah, at center.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is starting quality, but
NBA talk. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if we mentioned him. Sprained
his ankle? It looked worse than that. Looking at the replay, came down pretty awkward. So glad. Obviously, it's not a good thing that he sprained his ankle, but we're glad it's only a sprained ankle as opposed to what it could have been looking at the play.
Yeah, I mean...
and Mitchell's a guy who I think is heavily underrated. I mean, he averages about 25 points a game for the Jazz, who are... where are they seated? They have to be top 5.
They're first.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, well, that says even more about how underrated he is, so... Hopefully Donovan Mitchell will be back in action pretty soon.
Yeah. I just saw this, actually. I did not know this. Boston Celtics signed former number 2 pick Jabari Parker.
I did see that, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, he played well with, the Bulls. And then he was with the Hawks for a little, too. So, I mean, hopefully he can get his career back on path.
Jarrett Wiseman out for the season. From the Warriors.
Yeah. So that basically gives congratulations, Anthony Edwards, on your Rookie of the Year award.
I don't know. It's gonna be between him and, even though Melo has missed half the season, it's gonna be between those two.
Even Melo, I don't think they can give it to Melo.
Marcus Aldridge retired.
Yeah, with was it a heart issue? Underlying heart condition. Hall of Fame career, by the way. In my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be Hall of Fame. Easily Hall of Fame.
I think 8-time All-Star.
Talk about the old Sixers giving the Clippers their first loss since they acquired Rajon Rondo.
I didn't know that stat, but
yeah, they were undefeated with Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that high on the Clippers, but they have been playing very well recently. So I guess they have proved me wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect for the Rookie of the Year award though.
Edwards. That's what I expect.
I expect it to be Edwards, but then again, LaMelo. I mean, come on.
I just don't think you can give it to him with
some respect.
Half the season.
Who's your favorite for Defensive Player of the Year?
Embiid
or Simmons?
Embiid. But I think Embiid is a lot better on.
Definitely one of the two Sixers should be.
I just think Simmons. I don't know how he goes from above average defender to Defensive Player of the Year in 1 year without other system and personnel changes and stuff like that versus Embiid, who's been consistently one of the best defenders at center over the past few years. So that's what I think.
I mean, Embiid is by far the best. Well, okay, no respect to Rudy Gobert, but if I had to pick between Embiid or Gobert, Embiid exceeds every single category of
defense except for shot blocking.
Defense, no, he's just so much better than Gobert, and he has absolutely exposed Gobert in when they play, and the fact that Embiid still gets no respect, the only reason Gobert gets respect over Embiid is because he's bigger than, he's taller than him. Gobert's the tallest player in the league.
Gobert is the best shot blocker in the league, but he's really below average at literally everything else on defense, especially on defense.
And they tend to run a zone with the Jazz.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, he sits in the middle and waits for 6'2" guards to run the lane and then blocks them with his wingspan. I mean, he gets frequently exposed against top-tier centers like Embiid and Jokic, and he has one of the worst pick-and-roll defensive ratings in the league.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect for the defensive player of the year because it could go between. I've heard Giannis might even be in that conversation.
That's valid.
Giannis, Embiid, Gobert, or Simmons. Those are
probably the top four.
Those are going to be
DeJounte Murray.
Those are probably going to be the 4 top contenders.
Yeah. Put Marcus Smart in there too. I want to say that Marcus.
I mean, you think about it, like
Marcus Smart is the best.
I don't even know what I was going to try to say.
Marcus Smart is the best true guard defender in the NBA. He is the best true perimeter lock defender in the NBA today. And
the Sixers have 3 of the best defenders in the NBA.
Who's the third?
Thibault. I mean, tell me he's not like a
he is up there. I agree.
He's definitely top 10, top 15.
Yeah,
defender.
yeah.
So I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of those awards.
I think I don't want to say Marcus Smart should be like a favorite for it, but I think
MVP,
he's heavily underrated.
MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Defensive.
You want to do like picks right now for those?
I mean,
like just our like
predictions.
Just
my
like
prediction
as of now.
would be Embiid gets MVP, Simmons is Defensive Player of the Year, and Anthony Edwards, Rookie of the Year. Not that like people call me biased for that, but if you look at the stats, like come on.
My picks are Jokic for MVP.
Bro, what?
Embiid for Defensive Player of the Year and Edwards for Rookie of the Year. And I think it's Jokic.
There's no way. If the Sixers, it's because it's a regular season award.
Yeah, it is.
If the Sixers have a better
That's why Giannis has won it twice.
If the Sixers have a better record at the end of the year, he's going to win it. No doubt. He's averaging more points per game, averaging more rebounds.
He's averaging more rebounds by like 0.1.
Yeah, but still beating him.
That's not.
And they both should be racking up rebounds. They're the biggest.
They both do.
They're the biggest players.
The question is, would you rather have 4 more points or 6 more assists per game?
Bro, he's not. It's not even relatively. Bro, you got to think about it this way. It depends on their team.
Yeah.
Like Jokic is the best passer on his team, leading to more assists per game. Because he's like the only guy.
I agree.
He's like the facilitator on
But
his
at the
team.
same time, he's averaging an absurd amount of assists and playmaking ability.
Embiid's job is to catch the ball from Ben Simmons, who is obviously the best, one of the best facilitators in the game.
Wow, you know what's insane to think about? 2 centers are leading the MVP conversation. Since when does that happen? I think the last MVP at center was Shaq.
It is crazy to think about it, and
Curry should be up there too. Let me just put that out there. I know the Warriors don't have a good record, but he's probably my 3rd right now.
Wow, the Yankees lost again, man.
5-10.
Little shout out to Chris Palmer, my trainer, huge Yankees fan. Always on my case about the Phillies. So
5-10, worst record in the AL. So not too hot for the A-League's highest payroll, probably 2nd highest.
Yeah, probably 1st.
You think they pay more than the Dodgers?
It's close.
It's
close. I mean, I don't know, but yeah. I mean, we'll lead that. Well, let's lead that into our MLB talk. So. Phillies coming off a little bit of a rough week, as we spoke about at the beginning of the first episode. So I think, let's look at that. I think the Phillies won 2 games this week. It's not good. So the Phillies got essentially swept in what was supposed to be a 4-game series, which turned into a 3-game series because of some weather issues. So they lost all 3 games that they played. They lost all 3 of them to the Mets.
That's tough.
Then,
the Mets are pretty good, though.
And then, so then they won. They won on Friday against the Cardinals. That's Paul Shook's team. They absolutely killed the Cardinals, 9-2, and then they lost yesterday to the Cardinals, and they won today. Bryce Harper hitting a home run today, 425 feet. That's an absolute bomb. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's way too early in the season.
Yeah, 162 game season.
It's way too early in the season to kind of predict how things are going to go. But the Yankees better pick it up pretty soon, because if they fall behind in that division with the Rays, who were the World Series runner-up last year, obviously. So I don't know. That's going to be tough for them to kind of dig out of that hole if they get into one. Even if it's this early.
I mean, to be fair, I don't mean this like in a bad way, but these games don't mean anything. I mean, 10 games in an MLB season is equal to 1 game in an NFL season if you're looking at how many games they play. So I would say just don't get hung up on any individual. Like, losing 10 games in a row is equivalent to losing 1 game in the NFL. So I just wouldn't get too hung up on.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but I don't know. I don't know how baseball's tough, because especially this season, this is the first 162 game season that they've played in 2 years.
Yeah.
Last year they had a modified season, 60 games. So you got to look at it from a pitcher standpoint. A pitcher, especially from last year, they're not used to having to pitch every 5th day for 162 games. So, there's a little brawl between the Padres and the Dodgers.
Two of the best teams in the league.
So, yeah, 2 of the best teams in the league. They're in the same division. So, like, you look at how many teams are in these good divisions, you can't really afford to put yourself in a big hole at the beginning of the season. Let's talk about, you got the Dodgers and the Padres in the same division. You got the Yankees and the Rays in the same division. And then you got the NL East, who probably, in my opinion, not being biased, is the best division in baseball. And I think a lot of people will agree with that. I mean, you got realistically 5 teams that could possibly make the playoffs. I mean, the Marlins, they're probably predicted as the worst team in the division this year, but they made the playoffs last year. And you can't really sleep.
We're at 500 right now.
Yeah, you can't really sleep on a team like that. And then you got the obviously the Phillies, the Mets, the Nationals, and the Braves. 4 teams. There's 5 teams that can really realistically make the playoffs. And it's going to be tough because there's only 2 wild card spots this year. So, I don't know. I mean, I think you might as well just give one of the wild card spots to whoever doesn't win that division between the Dodgers and the Padres. And then you got to give the other wild card spot to the second place team in the NL East.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. But, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for a lot of NL teams to make the playoffs this year.
I agree. So, yeah, we'll...
Sort of like the AFC of the NFL, in which you have 10-6 teams, namely and only the Miami Dolphins not making the playoffs, which is tough. But
that's going to be this football season. I'm looking forward to. First of all, I mean,
what football season don't we look forward to? To be fair,
draft season is less, or the draft.
It is draft season.
It is draft season. Draft is less than 2 weeks away, and then after that, you kind of get into some training camp, and then preseason, and then regular season. So, really, you're looking at 3-4 months. There will be football. So, yeah. And
not much
playoffs start, NBA playoffs start in about a month.
Not much between the draft and start of the season, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's true. So, just a little bit of an update on the T-shirt situation, on the merchandise situation. So, how that's going to work, guys, is...
First come, first serve.
It's going to be first come, first serve. So, we were proposed an idea of kind of selling a a
lower
quantity of shirts to start. Yes. So
not to say that you guys won't all get shirts.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to start off small,
so we can
what
see
the
how
reaction
it goes.
was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how that's going to work is I believe we are going to be putting in an order for 24 shirts. And I believe I have the size breakdown on my phone. The sizes are going to range from adult small to adult extra large. And the
for the base ones.
Yes.
Anything 2XL or above is going to be special.
It's going to be special buy, which means you guys, those shirts are more expensive for us to purchase. So you guys are going to have to let us know specifically like how many of those like shirts you want and what size, so we can buy them for you, and then you guys can purchase.
And those will be slightly more expensive than the other ones because they do cost us more too.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the size breakdown. Hold on a second. I gotta pull it up. We're going to be giving away selling. We're going to be selling to start 5 adult smalls, 10 adult mediums, 6 adult larges, and 3 adult extra larges. So
first come, first serve.
It's going to be first come, first serve. And I don't know. We're going to try to sell them through our website, I believe.
Yeah. So if you don't have that, that's in the link tree in our Instagram bio, our website.
Jason Weaver obviously is, as you guys know, our manager, who is unable to be here at the moment, but he kind of knows more of the logistics than us.
Yeah.
So
if you have any questions, just DM the Instagram.
Yeah, DM the Instagram account. So that's kind of how it's going to work. I believe the shirts are going to be in as soon as this week, really. So keep an eye out for that. And like we've said in the past, it's going to the merchandise is going to depend on how successful you guys make it.
Yeah.
Like if you guys are purchasing shirts and we're, selling out of shirts every week or whatever, we're going to continue to purchase shirts so we can sell them to you guys along with some other items that will come a little later.
And if whenever the first line, which is these t-shirts, are done, and you want to see, and other people want to see like anything in particular, like hats, whatever it might be, feel free to give us those ideas on what you guys would like to see.
Yeah, exactly. And just like Jacob said, like you guys,
really,
it's your store.
Yeah.
You guys are the ones that.
Yeah, we're doing this because we want to get the most merchandise out there.
Yeah,
so we're going to give what you guys want.
We want you guys to kind of dictate how this goes. We want you guys to kind of, if you're, purchasing shirts, let us know, how
shirts are
comfortable it is.
Shirts are going to be what, like $18, I think?
I'm not sure. We're working out the prices right now. But like I said, just be on the lookout. I think the shirts, like I said, will be in as soon as this week. So be on the lookout for that this week.
You'll see. We'll post plenty of things on Instagram about that. So
yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this last week, but congratulations to Ethan Peffer, who won. He was the winner of our bracket challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So congratulations to him. I believe he's getting a free shirt.
Yeah.
So
Ethan, DM us your size. I'll just talk to him.
And just to kind of wrap up with a little Trinity sports wrap up, like we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Jacob, how's the track team doing?
Good. Shippensburg Invitational was yesterday. We had a bunch of people running and throwing in that, so that was exciting. And Camp Hill Day on Tuesday at Camp Hill.
All right. Well, just kind of giving a quick shout out to the baseball team. This past week, we took on the second best team in the Mid Penn with East Penn on our hands. And we actually lost that game to 2-0 was the final score. And they actually were pitching a major league prospect with Michael Morales on the bump. So he's actually a first round projection. Yeah. So
it's like Mackay Flowers of the.
Yeah, exactly. And then Friday night, we bounced back and we won against the 5th best team in the Mid Penn against Greencastle Antrim. We won that game 5-2. And a huge shout out to Ethan Peffer. He threw 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, just 3 hits, or 2. Might have even been 2 hits, just 2 hits on the day. and Josh McCombs came in and saved it. So congratulations to all of Trinity sports teams. The girls lacrosse team just got their first win of the season. The boys lacrosse team is rolling.
Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated. They keep rolling. And just want to give a reminder to you guys that don't know, please come to the game on Thursday. The baseball game, it is at City Island at the Senators Field. It's senior night, so feel free to bring whoever wants to come. So I appreciate that. And see you guys next week.